fuck is she talking about?
The second you walked into Blackgate, I knew you were a swindler.
Oz, what the fuck is she talking about?
Yeah, what is she talking about? What will Sofia learn about Oz and how will this change the course of a series? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me for this not so short review if you like to find out. The last chapter ended with Vic saving Oz from the Maronis, who held him and Sofia at gunpoint. But they didn't take her with them. I was asking myself, how will he be able to talk himself out of that one? As we just saw, the Maronis spilled the beans about Oz, but not just about working with them in secret.
I thought for a moment that perhaps you asked him to
Asked him to what?
kill your brother.
Well, I guess there is no talking himself out of this one. Not even his tongue is that golden. So no wonder he left her behind. And while he got away, she also manages to get to safety, calling for help before she passes out from her injuries. What follows is the long-awaited flashback, showing us Sofia's backstory starting 10 years ago, where she was running a charity to promote mental health support for women for a very personal reason.
My mother struggled with depression for years. When I was 9, she took her own life.
And she did such a great job that her father, seeing that her brother Alberto was more interested in partying, even considered something quite unusual.
Maybe it's time to break with tradition. When the time comes, I want you to take my place.
Back then, Oz was just her driver, but they were very close and they always stood up for each other.
Shit! Hey, Penguin up there is gonna have to clean this up.
Don't call him that.
Well, almost always, because when a reporter approached her asking about women found hanged the same way her mother died, she wondered if it really was suicide or if her father was involved. And in that fragile state, she snapped at Oz.
You know, your father might not like...
Stop! I don't care what you think. No one does. You are my driver. That is all you are. So stop talking and drive.
That prompted him to tell her father she met with a reporter, assuming she would just get a slap on her wrist. But in the following confrontation with her father, she mentioned him having had scratches on his hands the day her mother died, for which there surely had to be a good explanation.
Right?
But instead, that led to her being framed.
Get off me!
You're under arrest
Wait.
for the murder of Summer Gleason.
The reporter?
What?
And ordered to be put under psychiatric observation.
Because my dad said so?
It's not just your father. A number of family members have written affidavits suggesting the same.
That meant she was placed into Arkham Asylum until her trial would begin, where she was mistreated, including unwarranted electroshock therapy, which made her slowly but steadily lose grip on reality. And after the corrupt medical director declared her unfit for trial, what was meant to be a 6-month stay turned into 10 years, which along the way turned her into what they accused her to be.
And birthdays. Mine's in February, which makes me an Aquarius.
That brings us back into the here and now, where we learned that the help she previously called was her psychiatrist, who was part of her ordeal.
What if she's telling the truth? Careful, Doctor.
But soon left Arkham after he was unable to help her. But of course still feels guilty.
You abandoned me.
I left because I had to. Because I could. I know you didn't have that choice, but I'm here now.
However, he did help Alberto to get her out. Back in the family mansion at dinner, she calls everyone out for their involvement in her false imprisonment, before she takes her cousin's daughter Gia for a sleepover into the greenhouse, while everyone left in the main house is dying from carbon monoxide poisoning. Well, almost everyone.
We need to talk.
Okay, for the last few episodes I shared quite short review videos, but to this episode I felt the need to dedicate a bit more time. And let me start by saying that for me, this was the strongest episode yet. Even better than the almost flawless pilot. Even though we see a little bit of Oz in this one, this chapter is all about Sofia, and Kristen Milioti delivers a powerhouse performance. From her realization that Oz killed her brother, over her past innocence, her ordeal in Arkham, slowly slipping into insanity, Her seductive spiel with her psychiatrist, the spot-on delivery of her speech at the dinner table, to her happily enjoying the aftermath of her revenge plan. She never misses a beat. For that reason alone, this so far makes it the standout episode. But wait, there is more. The whole stint in Arkham was chilling, seeing how they misuse their patients, how they play them against each other, manipulating the fragile minds of their wards. And that already started during the admission process, which was cruel and violent. Her whole stay there also highlighted how people, even before their trial, are subjected to inhumane treatment, and how imprisoning innocent people can turn them into the very thing we accuse them to be. Quick side note, in some of my recent reviews of shows on streaming services and premium cable, I called out that just because you can show whatever you want, doesn't mean you have to. I'm not opposed to nudity or violence, but I appreciate them withstanding from gratuitous nudity. So far there was nothing on that front, and in the Arkham scenes that would have really felt exploitative. Even the violence is not too graphic, only some short peeks here and there. They have the occasional profanity in it, but even that feels quite organic in this show and is not overused. Kudos to that.
Are you fucking serious?
There was a lot we learned from this episode. Besides the obvious backstory, we found out what Sofia meant each time she called Oz out for telling on her.
If you were really looking out for me, you would have talked to me, not him. I trusted you.
It also revealed why Oz is hiding away his mother, pretending her to be dead.
My father sees you now. You and everyone you love is on his radar.
And, to his credit, Oz obviously was truly shocked about the outcome of his indiscretion.
Did you do this? For him?
No, I got no idea what the fuck is going on.
No, I didn't kill anyone! Oz, you gotta do something!
Hey, let her go!
But I guess after her learning that he killed her brother, there is no forgiveness. Yet. What I mean by this? In the comics, the whole story is a little bit different. Without getting into too much detail, there Sofia actually is the hangman, who is a cop killer. And it was her who killed Alberto, who was a serial killer himself, called the Holiday Killer. With that in mind, I think that maybe it wasn't himself who Carmine was protecting, though I guess he did kill his wife. But maybe it was his son Alberto who is the actual hangman, and therefore was the reason for Sofia's time in Arkham. Maybe even actively framing her, just pretending to be the only one on her side.
I'm not giving up. I swear to God, one day I'll get you out of here.
That way she could end up forgiving Oz. Could, but I guess they will ultimately duke it out for the position of Gotham's Kingpin. I just hope she doesn't end up dead, as I think we are all pretty sure the Penguin will end up on top, so he can be Batman's nemesis in the next movie. Maybe she ends up in Arkham again. That would really piss her off. And her comeback may make for another great movie or TV show. We will see. We also learned that there truly is history with her psychiatrist. And the sexual tension we saw in a previous chapter, though never consummated, was obviously something he would be interested in, as she calls out.
I haven't forgotten, the way you looked at me.
His guilt and help getting her out also explains why she is still going to him for regular sessions. The episode also revealed that her entire extended family helped framing her, which explains why they are so uncomfortable around her. It's not just fear, or at least not solely, but also guilt. And even though we are all obviously opposed to murder, I have to say that in the end of a chapter, after learning what they have done to her, I just thought, good riddance.
Your Uncle Luca, your cousins Johnny and Carla Viti.
You're using my mother's suicide as a...
But as a last thing, let's talk about the ending. First off, I have to admit that I was worried for a second seeing Sofia leading Gia away in the middle of the night, thinking she may kidnap her or hurt her to punish her cousin, before the penny dropped. But killing her parents for sure will also make for a rude awakening. Honestly, I was also unsure if she really killed everyone or just sedated them, with a plan of cuffing everyone afterwards and force them to comply, while only leading the kid out to spare her the sensation of being knocked out by gas. But first of all, as she disconnected a tube connecting the vent with a heater or something like that, it appeared to be carbon monoxide, which is deadly. And secondly, they all looked pretty dead, with their eyes open and all. I had to rewatch the ending though, to make sure. including the fact that the window she previously opened actually was in Johnny Viti's room. However, and this is pretty much the only tiny distractor for me in this episode, that was quite risky if she indeed needs him, as he could have closed the window before he went to sleep. He could also have stayed up longer, like others did who were found in the living area. And others may have slept with open windows too, so more could have survived. It also seemed odd that whatever she used would flood the building so quickly that no one noticed the others collapsing in time to save themselves. Which may mean it wasn't carbon monoxide, which would make the tube scene a little bit confusing. That and the fact that even though we see guards lying at the door when she enters, but apparently no guard was there when she left with Gia the night before, are the only things that made me scratch my head a little bit. But that is nitpicking on the highest level. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. Like for the pilot, you can likely tell from my raving praise that I loved this episode. It was the best so far, and for me it was almost perfect. I was considering an actual 10 out of 10 points, but ultimately landed at the very close 9.5 out of 10 points. Because I'm a stingy bastard and because of the nitpicky reasons I just laid out. Still a fantastic score for a fantastic episode. What about you? Did you also love this entry? Was I too stingy or too exuberant with my rating? What do you think will happen next? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching. Including unwarranted electroshock therapy. Electroshock therapy. Shop? Did I say shop? Is dying from carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide? Carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide.